The Truman Doctrine actually effectively reoriented US foreign policy away from its usual stance of withdrawal from regional conflicts that's not directly involving the United States to one of the possible intervention in faraway conflicts. So this Truman Doctrine actually set new objectives of foreign policy, or the new objectives of the US foreign policy. That is, the US changed from its isolationist policies to the involvements in regional and global conflicts. Although US had started involvements in different global politics before that as well, for example, through Lend-Lease agreement and through direct involvement in the Second World War and the active participation in formation of United Nations, all those are examples where a US adopted a foreign policy of involving in different regional and global conflicts. But this doctrine specifically set the US the goals, or set the objectives of US foreign policy to the involvement in different regional and global conflicts. With Truman Doctrine, President Henry S. Truman established that the United States would provide political, military, and economic assistance to all democratic nations under threat from external or internal authoritarian forces. That is, now US set its objective that US will assist all those people who are working or who are trying to get freedom from any authoritarian force, either it's from external or from any internal authoritarian force. If the people are struggling to get independence or freedom from those authoritarian forces, the US will provide political, military, and economic assistance to those nations or those people who are struggling to get freedom. The Truman Doctrine arose from a speech delivered by President Truman before a joint session of Congress on March 12, 1947. And according to the speech, in his speech, President Truman requested that Congress provided $4 billion aid to both Greek and Turkish governments, and support the dispatched American civilian and military personnel and equipment to the region. These two nations, Greek and Turkish nations, they were fighting against some communist groups. There was civil war in those regions, and previously they were dependent on UK's assistance, and UK had decided to withdraw their assistance to these nations, and so there was the possibility that a power vacuum might be generated after the UK withdraw its support to those nations. So the US decided to provide assistance to the Greek and Turkish government. The immediate cause for the speech was the recent announcement of the British government that on the March 31st it would no longer provide military and economic assistance to the Greek governments in its civil war against the Greek Communist Party. Truman asked Congress to support Greek government against the communists because at the time the US government believed that the Soviet Union supported Greek communist war effort and worried that if communists prevail in the Greek civil war, the Soviets will ultimately influence Greek policy. So in fear of Soviet's domination on Greek, Truman requested Congress to provide assistance to Greek government so that they could successfully push the Greek communist government, and they should check the Greek communist government from coming to the power. This was not the only reason, although this was the immediate reason. The immediate reason was to provide assistance to the Greek government against Greek Communist Party, but there were some other reasons as well. For example, the Swedes' failure to withdraw their troops from northern Iran in early 1946, as per the terms of Tehran Declaration of 1943. Suez attempt to pressure this was another reason, and Suez attempt to pressurize Iranian government into granting them oil concessions while supposedly fomenting irredentism of Azerbaijani separatists in northern Iran. This was the another reason. So moreover, the Suez effort to force the Turkish government into granting them base and transit rights through the Turkish Straits. This was also the reason. And the Suez government's rejection of Burj plan for international control over nuclear energy and weapons in June 1946. These all were the reasons for asking or for giving the Truman Doctrine. So the immediate reason was the decision by UK that they are going to withdraw their assistance by 31st March to the Greek government, and if the UK withdraw their assistance to Greek government, there was the possibility that a power vacuum might be created, and as the Greek government was fighting against the Greek Communist Party, and it was supposedly believed that the Communist Party was the Soviet Union was supporting Communist Party, and in this way the Soviet Union, if the Communist Party came into power through Communist Party, Soviet Union might control Greek's foreign policy. This was the one reason. And beside that, there were 4 other reasons as well. For example, Soviet Union failed to withdraw their troops from northern Iran, and they pressurized Iranian government to grant them oil concessions, and they supposedly they were instigating Azerbaijani separatists in northern Iran, and this was another reason as well. And the Soviet efforts to control the Turkish government into granting them base and transit rights through the Turkish Strait was the another reason. That was also reason. And the Soviet government had also rejected the Burj plan for international control over nuclear energy and weapons. These all were the reasons for giving Truman Doctrine. Now, Truman provided 2 justifications for his doctrine. The first was that the communist victory in the Greek Civil War would endanger the political stability of Turkey, which would undermine the political stability of Middle East. And this could not be allowed in the light of region's immense strategic importance to the US national security. And the United States was also compelled to assist free people in their struggle against totalitarian regimes, because the separate of authoritarianism would undermine the foundations of international peace and hence the security of United States. Now United States believe that its security must not be confined to the geographical boundaries of United States only. Their security is also influenced by the security of the world. Since their interest is not confined to the geographical boundaries, so their security is also not confined to their geographical boundaries. Thank you for joining. Take care. Goodbye.